Check it out. You know I love to play the game of real estate and crush it. So today I'm hanging with Henry Washington, another influencer from online who does real estate a little bit of a different way. What are you up to, my man?
Hey man, I love single family real estate. I love small multifamily real estate. I love taking properties in neighborhoods like this, taking the eyesores, making them beautiful, providing affordable housing.
So check it out. I've done over 5,000 deals, but Henry's doing it in a total different way. There's 7 particular skills that he leverages for crushing it, making tons of money in real estate, and he's about to show you what they are.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Okay, so Henry, dude, you've been playing this game for 4 years now, right?
That's right.
And how many units are you up to?
We're at about 70 units right now, man, give or take. We're buying, we're selling, so in between there.
Okay, so that's like a really impressive number.
Yeah, man.
And has your strategy changed in the last 70 units from what you started with to what you're doing today?
Absolutely not, man. It got a little more strict during COVID on the numbers, but other than that, the strategy's been the same. Direct to seller marketing, bringing in good leads, evaluating them, making them offers, and then pushing that ROI.
You know, I think the number one complaint that I hear from people in my audience is, oh my gosh, the prices keep going up so you can't find good deals anymore. Is that true?
Absolutely not, man. It's because they're shopping in the wrong store, right? If you want to find a good deal, you have to look for a situation, not for a house.
Oh, I like that. Okay, well, listen, I want to make sure during this video that you hone in on that.
Absolutely.
Because I want people to understand where you're getting these good deals, how they can do it, where they need to look for it. Are you going to cover all that?
Absolutely.
All right, good, man. Man, I'll tell you right now, just for the record, it is winter. We did not have coats on. It is cold out there. The sunglasses might fool people a little bit. How are we doing, Henry?
I am freezing. My hands are cold. That hurt a lot because it's freezing outside, but this is a good time.
Listen, I became aware of Henry this last year, and I saw how he was starting to slate on YouTube, and I got interested because, you know, in my world, I got onto YouTube and social media after I'd done $1 billion in real estate. So a lot of people online, they're like, well, I found all the social proof, and I only know Kris Krohn, like the mega successful, the guy who owns a private jet and, you know, owns all these businesses. And I'm like, man, you didn't see me at the beginning, but I look at where you're at and I'm like, dude, you are 4 years fresh from the point that you started. You have since had that really cool moment of quitting your job, freeing your wife, you know, from her career. And so you're like right there where I was over a decade ago. I'm like, dude, come on in. Let's talk about how you're doing it today. And besides, you're also doing it different. I love the 7 skills that you're gonna be covering today. It's gonna create some really great value for these guys. So let's start by actually getting a little bit of an understanding of who you are and what you've done in the game of real estate, aside from becoming financially free through the game, right? So tell us a little about your history.
Absolutely. I started doing this 4 years ago. I bought my first house 90 days after having a panic attack. And I had a panic attack because I had to figure out how to build a life for my new family when I had bad credit and no money.
Dude, I found crazy motivation in my life when I came in on my wife in tears because we didn't have money for rent, we didn't have money for tuition, we didn't have money for anything, even groceries. And like that was like such a powerful moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all this responsibility. And it was after that that I started saying, okay, I've got the motivation. I don't know what I'm gonna do. How did you then discover real estate after that panic attack?
Absolutely. Well, I did what any red-blooded American would do when you have a panic attack about not making enough money, is I turned on my phone, I went to Google and I asked, how can I make some more money?
I need more money.
That's when I found real estate. That's when I found articles about real estate. And really the motivation came when I watched a video of a kid who was 20-something years old. He had 20-something doors. He was financially free. And my first thought wasn't, I can't do this. My first thought was, if he can do it, so can I.
Dude, that's kind of crazy. So I just want you to think for a moment. If you're watching this, if you're not a subscriber on my channel, I want you to do that. You're also going to find the social media tags for my friend Henry here, so you can go and follow him as well, because we're here to inspire you to get more out of life, but also teach you the skills to make it happen, which is what we're gonna focus on. I'm in the single family game a lot of the time. You are as well, but you're playing the game a little bit differently. In fact, a lot differently. There's 7 specific skills that you leverage that you can replicate the same success time and time and time again with. That's what we're gonna be teaching you guys today, and this man is gonna teach us. So let's talk first about the fact that we both agree that largely single family real estate that you purchase today and hold for a certain period of time is where there's a ton of money to make, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
So check this out. This is building a portfolio while making an impact. This is a core part of your philosophy. This is your logo. This is who you are. And this is what you've got out there. You say there are many important principles to building a strong real estate portfolio, such as getting in on your first deal and leveraging it to buy more. However, there are certain hard skills, soft skills, and hacks that are especially important to achieve the most success in real estate. And I assume that's where these 7 skills ultimately come from.
Absolutely, Kris. What I learned early on in my journey as an investor is that we have to stop looking at things as deals and start realizing that this is a people business. And once I dove into the people side of real estate, I was able to bring more deals, which in turn built my portfolio.
Hey, I gotta tell you something I really like about Henry is that he's an ultimate oracle, a blueprinter, like an engineer. So when I first started talking with him, he's like, well, I can show you step by step by step by step. I'm like, man, you're given the blueprint for building wealth. Will you come on like the video today and show us how to do that? And he's agreed, so here we go. All right, let's actually start by breaking this down. You've got 2 specific skills. You call these hard skills for success. So what does that even mean? What is a hard skill and what is it?
Yeah, a hard skill is something tangible, right? Something you do with your time to help bring you success. And so 2 of the keys that I found are typically the problems for most investors is, first, how are they finding these deals? This market's crazy hot. Everybody's overpaying for deals. People think they can just hop on Zillow, make a couple of overpriced offers, right? And then they have this asset. Well, that's not the case if you really want to produce wealth with real estate.
So I want to be really clear. When you say hard skill, you mean that when it comes to marketing or looking for really good deals, you got a system on how to do this.
100%.
I want you to hear it because I have a system, and part of my system is like just look at every single house on the market in the areas I'm buying in, track it, and it's a lot of hard manual labor. Tell me a little bit about this hard skill and how you market for really good deals.
Yeah, marketing for really good deals, I like to look off the market. So I do what's called direct to seller marketing. So we are contacting sellers, and the end goal is essentially to get that seller on the phone so that we can set up an appointment, look at the house, and make an offer.
So how are you doing that? Like, how do you reach out to them? How do you find them?
Absolutely, love that question. We are using direct mail and we are using cold callers. So we pull lists and then contact those people either directly through mail or through someone on the phone.
Okay, so I actually want to know specifically then, like, what are your sources? If someone is, you're watching this and you're like, okay, so you're saying there might be some good deals in my backyard, like, where would you go if you were them?
100%. Step 1 is I would go to listsource.com and I would pull a list of people who own single family homes who have equity, right? And some type of motivation. That could be that they've owned the home for 15 or 20 plus years, because what does that mean, Kris? That they've got potential equity because they've lived there for a long period of time. That's a debt pay down, right? It's hard to make a deal, impossible to make a deal if they don't have equity, right? So you look for the equity in your list, you pull it from listsource.com, and then you can literally print your own postcards, or you can contact someone, a print house that prints mail, you give them your list and have them send the mail. It's really that easy.
Dude, so this is kind of crazy. I actually love this. So you basically have a form letter and you just go to, what is it called? List what?
Listsource.com.
Listsource.com and basically say, I'm looking for those criteria. Yep. I'm going to pull the list. Yep. I'm assuming that you can purchase it for a small bit of money?
Yep, listsource.com, you can purchase per lead. So you pay pennies per each lead.
Got it. And then basically you just drop them a postcard in the mail and saying, hey, I might be the guy that can buy this from you. And there's a little bit of a numbers game, right? It's like, hey, if someone is in the mood and I just happen to capture them, does this actually really work though?
100% it works, but it takes consistency. That's another one of my tips is you have to relentlessly, consistently market for deals. The people like me who get good deals all the time, it isn't because I'm doing something nobody else is doing. It's because I'm doing it at a pace and volume that other people aren't willing to do it at.
So would you say that sometimes you're maybe trading hundreds of dollars in marketing to try to get a good deal on a house, or can it be thousands, or can it be tens of dollars? Like, what do you find?
Yeah, you can spend hundreds to 1,000 or more, and you could make thousands upon thousands on the back end with those deals.
So what would you say is a pretty typical arbitrage? Like, I spent this and then I make that. What do you think? What's fair?
Absolutely. $5,000 a month spent on marketing for me typically turns into 3 to 4 deals a month at $20,000 to $30,000 per deal.
Okay, so let me just run that math. 4 deals at 25 grand is $100,000. So you might be taking 5 grand and turning that into $100,000 worth in deals. Does that sound about right?
Month over month.
I'm just asking you a question. If you had a little bit of money to spend and you wanted to use that strategy, could that be a viable way for you to get in the game? I'm just telling you right now, he just told you exactly how to do it. Okay, well, Henry, let me ask you this. They say it takes money to make money. Do you believe in that?
100%, just doesn't have to be yours.
Got money, yeah, and you know it, yeah. Take it out your pocket and show it and know it.
Okay, so let's talk about that because you say that the second hard skill here has to do with financing for deals. What's this all about?
It means, how do you find the money to buy these deals? Not everybody has hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay cash for homes, right? So what I have done is I have figured out ways to find money to fund my deals, right? You can do that through small local banks, you can do that through hard money lenders, or you can do that through private money lenders. They all have their pros and cons, but what they all do is they provide you the money to go out and buy the deal, sometimes at little to no cost out of your own pocket.
Now, right now, you got to be thinking, wait a second, these are some new terms. What could I do with this information? It's simple. You subscribe so you can learn this stuff, or you just ask Dr. Google, hey, is there hard money available in my area? And more than likely, something's going to kick up, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm getting in contact that as long as I can get a really great hand on a deal, I can Google and find someone with money. You put the two of them together, and boom, you're now making a deal go down.
Absolutely. There is one thing these three lending options have in common, is that they all love a good deal. So if you get really good at this and you buy a good deal, these people will be throwing their money at you.
Okay, so those are the first 2 of 7 skills. Can you kind of pull from your experience like a story or something that really went down where this worked?
Absolutely, 100%. So I have a marketing list that I pulled from ListSource. It only cost me about $1,000 to pull the list. I sent the mail. I ended up getting a response from a gentleman who had owned this house, and he was in a tough situation. He said that his wife had passed from cancer, and he couldn't stand to live there anymore. And so he just moved out of the house. He had a tenant move in, and they were destroying the house. They were hoarders, stuff was everywhere. He couldn't figure out how to get them out, and he just really needed to sell that house the way it was right now. His problem was he needed to sell the house so that he could then close that chapter of his life with that home with his wife, and he needed to take that fund so he could move on to do something else with his life. But he had somebody living there who made it impossible for him to sell.
So basically, he had a problem. He had a really tough situation, and he just needed someone to come in and solve it.
Absolutely.
And do you find that that's often what you're doing? When you talk about impact here, about really trying to help solve problems for people that they don't know how to solve?
You are absolutely solving a problem. So I don't look for homes anymore. I look for situations. And I only buy homes when I can help solve a problem. So this situation was me solving a huge problem for him so we could close that chapter of his life. I then took the home with the tenant, and it did what we needed to do to get the tenant out.
Do you remember how much you actually got the house for?
100%. I paid $110,000 for the house.
And then did you have to put any repairs into it? I mean, I'm assuming the tenant kind of messed it up a little bit.
They did. They did some damage. We spent about $30,000 on renovation.
Okay, so now buying it for 110, 30,000 repairs, you're into it around 140,000.
Yep.
And then did you hold on to it? Did you lease it? Did you sell it?
Yep, we're selling it for $210,000.
Okay, so that's I mean, before costs and whatnot, that's about $70,000 a gain.
Absolutely, $70,000 in profit because I was able to solve a problem for somebody. He couldn't have been happier that we bought that house.
Man, I got to tell you, when I think about my first mentors in real estate, one of the things they told me is they said, hey, when you solve small problems, you get to make some money, but when you solve huge problems, you get to make a lot of money. And you know, when you think about the time that you put in and the length of time holding it with the $70,000 a gain, it starts to make sense how owning a portfolio of real estate, renting it out, cash flowing it, and sometimes selling one of them off for a big chunk of change starts to really make sense. All right, we're on the next 2 skills. These ones are soft skills. They're not hard skills. They're not techniques. What is a soft skill and what are they?
Yeah, a soft skill is something that's not like a practical application. It's more of a concept that you put into place. And like I told you before, real estate is a people business. It's not a transaction business. It's a transaction business second. And so when I started to focus on the people, I started to see the deal flow rolling.
So tell me about this first one right here. Be of service to everyone. What does it mean?
It means exactly what we talked about. People have a problem if they're reaching out to us to pay under market value. We are in service of them by solving that problem, by helping them offload that home. And so I stopped walking in houses and thinking, I've got to close a deal, I've got to close a deal. And I started walking in houses asking, how can I be of service to you? Sometimes, Kris, that meant I could walk in the house and figure out how to help somebody without buying their home. And I'm okay with that because I want to be of service to everyone. And the more I'm of service, the more leads it actually generates for me.
Got it. So step 1 is just be of service to people. And then I see the second one here is give it all away. I think you're going to have to frame that one up. What does that mean, Henry?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to have the mindset of This information, this wealth building knowledge is powerful. You're living this right now by talking about this with me, because we're giving all this knowledge away to people so that they can build wealth for themselves. And when you focus on other people and giving your knowledge and your skills and your passions away, it's going to increase your business. The money comes when you're a true giver at heart.
So I got to tell you right now that success in life usually comes down not just to what you do, not even how you do it, but the mindset, right? Dolph Ruth calls it the real estate between your two ears. And I'm gonna tell you that any endeavor to be successful will always have a mindset component. And what I'm hearing so far is you did a really great job, Henry, teaching us 2 hard skills, the 2 techniques for basically how you find the deals and how you find the money. But now what I hear you saying is there's a mindset, and it's how can I be of service and how can I be willing to give it all away? And with that attitude, that's probably why you're having the level of success that you are.
100%.
And we're on to our last 3 skills for how Henry crushes it in the game of real estate. And these ones are marked up as hacks. And I gotta tell you, I love house hacking. I love hacks. Basically, these are the secrets that really successful people do. So from all the homes that you've done, share with us your top 3 hacks that will help you crush it in real estate.
Absolutely. These 3 hacks really changed my life. First and foremost, house hack now and later, right? House hacking literally changed my life. When I got into the game of real estate, I immediately said, whoa, I bought my first house all wrong, honey. We need to sell this thing. We sold our house. We bought a duplex. We lived in one unit. We rented the other. What did that do? It eliminated my housing expense, allowed me to save money for 24 months that I was used to spending on a mortgage. I used that money to buy my dream home 2 years later.
Now listen, if you're unfamiliar with this term house hacking, what it usually means is a house can be a house. It can also be a home. Right? And instead of just looking for a home, a place for you and your family to lay roots and whatever, start looking for a house as in a smart investment property. Because basically, if you can buy something, banks will usually favor you with smaller down payments instead of investment properties that require so much more. If you can find a way for this house that you're buying as a home for your family to also double as a really smart investment, that's the hack that you're talking about.
100%. It changed my life completely, allowed me to save a ton of money that I then could use on my business, or to then buy that forever home that we actually did want.
Awesome. Okay, house hack number 2.
Yes, house hack number 2. Everybody's so quick to want to quit their job, but you don't always have to jump into quitting your job, because your job can be your best investor in your business. Having that income coming in every week helps you feel confident, helps you figure out how to save so that you can go and build your portfolio, right? Banks love somebody with a W-2. Right? It makes them feel like you are super bankable. And so that allows you to be able to borrow more money that you can go and build your portfolio with.
You know, I felt tempted when I had bought my first few homes. It was because I leveraged my W-2. I had leveraged my job that allowed me to get in those investment properties. And then I felt tempted. I'm like, man, I'm crushing it in real estate. And I wonder if maybe now I should bow out of my job and if I should just focus on real estate. And instead of doing that, I started saying, how do I max out my W-2? And there was a moment where I'm like, hey, I actually don't want to be here anymore, but if this is in service of my financial future, I'm going to stick with it. And I did that for the next 3 years. And that's what got me to 25 properties. And those 25 properties paid me $12,000 a month. I quit my job. That year, I doubled my real estate portfolio again. I actually tripled my earnings because I've always started getting in the game and leveraging myself. And so I'm really, to this day, grateful that I left at the right time, because I was leveraging my W-2 as an asset. I was leveraging my credit as an asset to keep buying homes until the time was right to depart from all of it, just like you did this last year.
Absolutely. Your job is a great hack to success. The last tip I would give everybody is, we all, especially if you've been watching this video and we've given you some great tips and you're still feeling overwhelmed, like you don't quite know what to go do, just do this simple step. Surround yourself with successful investors. If you're in a room constantly with people who are doing deals over and over again, the how will rub off on you. You will start to figure out how these clever people are taking down these deals, how they're finding these deals, right? And real estate can be real market specific. So if you're in the room with investors from that market who are successful, the how will reveal itself to you.
Man, Henry, dude, crazy shout out for teaching us those 7 skills. I love his approach. And guess what? This is something you can do because he was that specific with you. As you're watching this video though, and you're also thinking, okay, this is cool. I can get hands-on. I can be a DIYer. I also meet those people out there that are saying, Kris, if you want to provide all the solutions for me, what if I don't want to do it myself? What if I want it done for me? Well, that's where you click a link below and you'd request a copy of this document. I publish this every year. It shows the last several thousand properties that I've done, including my strategy for making the most money in real estate today. My ROIs right now are double, triple, quadruple what they normally are. What that really means is I could buy a house with you and in time turn that into a really powerful, life-changing, multi-million-dollar portfolio. So if you've got money just hanging out in a 401k, an IRA, equity in a home, I want you to click that link. And that way you have a chance to get a copy of this for free. I'm gonna have you cover the shipping and handling, but when I send it to you, I'm gonna reveal all of my secrets for how I build wealth, just like Henry has established with you exactly how he's doing it. And with that, Henry, dude, it has been great having you here today, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on out. And listen, this has been fun. Should we do this again?
Absolutely. You tell me when. I'll be there.
You tell me. You wanna see Henry do this again? Drop a comment. I'm gonna tell you right now, I've enjoyed the knowledge that you dropped today because it is achieving similar outcomes, but doing it in a different way. So I think there was some really huge value today. For those of you that are a little bit curious, okay, Kris, well, I heard how Henry did it. How have you gotten started with your real estate portfolio? Recently, I picked up my CEO and my limo, and we actually drove around to several of my very first properties. So if you want to know how I house hacked and how I got in the game, click this video and let me show you. Hey, check it out, Kris Krohn here. I'm hanging out with Henry Washington. Let me try Washington. Try it again.
Never been called that.
Yeah. Someone's dying. Hurry up. That's right out of the hospital.